Hi, welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion. Before I continue, I just want to show this. Okay, and then here we go. So today I want to talk about Mission Impossible, the one before the one that's coming right now, because seeing that the new one's about to come, that's the second half of this one. I wanted to review this one. It made sense. So okay, so I like this movie overall. It's a it's really good. It's not the best one though. It's the problem with this movie is that it feels like there's like five different movies, kind of, not even five, probably like four different movies jammed into one. Like it feels like there's kind of like an AI plot, a treasure hunt plot, like that's kind of the problem. It's not really edited that great, as well as others used to be back in the day. It's like it's not the best one, but it's still really entertaining for a lot of ways. So basically, the plot of this is a submarine in Russia has an AI in it, and the AI pretty much, kills everybody on the crew by having the ship sink. And now it's able to connect to the internet now and be able to link directly into the worldwide, like web. And now it's just taking over every system. Now this should have been the plot here about the evil AI. But the problem is that they're more focused on like what the people, are doing. Now I think there are a couple characters that feel like if it stayed in the evil AI script, it would have worked. Like for instance, we have Ethan Hunt's boss from the first movie. I don't really know his name. I just know him as that, and he's back now in this one, and in the one that's gonna come in next week. He does an all right antagonist. I think he really does, because basically the point of his character is basically him and his boss, played by Carrie Elways, who also I think Carrie Elways is a great character in this too, because essentially their plot is basically the AI is taking over every system, is taking over every internet system, but there's this key. There's these two pieces of a key. There's one piece that's hidden somewhere, and there's another piece that somebody already has. And therefore, if we can get both, apparently, if you get both pieces of the key, dive into the water through the ice, apparently, go into the water, down through, and down on the bottom of the ocean into this Russian submarine, you will basically be able to put the key into this apparatus and essentially have control of the AI. Now you could either turn it off, or you can turn it completely against the world. And Carrie Elways and the boss from the first movie feel like the most realistic character villains in this thing, and that you believe that if there was an evil AI and there was a chance to take control of it, you immediately know there would be two shady government guys that would immediately try to go take control of it immediately. And their plan is basically, if anybody has to control the AI, the US should, and pretty much every other country feels that the same way too. But weirdly, even though they say that every other country is doing the same thing, we don't really see the other countries grabbing it. We just kind of see, only the US and, Ethan Hunt trying to get it, seems to be. And this other guy who they decided to retcon in. I'm just going to call him the retcon villain, because that's basically what he is. They decided to retcon in this villain who killed Ethan Hunt's wife in the first movie. Again, it didn't really happen, and if you watch the movies, it didn't happen that way, but they decided to retcon in a villain, just like they did with the villain in the most recent Jurassic Park movie. They decided to rewrite in that he was always a villain, don't you see? But at least that one, they took the name from a character that you vaguely remember from the first movie. This one's like The first movie is completely different now because we had this one assassin guy that killed his wife, and now he has to. Now he's chasing him, and there's kind of this whole. So Ethan Hunt wants to kill him because he killed his wife, like in the John Wick or Taken type style of action movie thing. But the thing is that the AI has pretty much calculated out that if he kills him, then the AI wins. Now, I think the AI isn't that smart in a lot of ways. Like, there's this one airport scene where it like does perfect deep fake and tricks everybody with like changing the camera footage and all that. Like it becomes Eagle Eye for a little bit. And if you don't know that movie, there was a movie with Shia LaBeouf and Billy Bob Thornton about an evil AI, run by the government and stuff, and it goes rogue and then grabs these two people to try to create this civil war situation. So when it's like Eagle Eye, it's really good. There's this really fun car scene with this little yellow cab where Tom Cruise and his new love interest, played by the lady who played British Captain America, are both handcuffed, and then they have to like try to steer the car and and maneuver it, and it's really fun. I like that. See when and again, it doesn't disappoint on the stunts, of course, because it's Tom Cruise. It doesn't disappoint on stunts. It disappoints because it doesn't really feel like there's a congruent like plot line. There is, but it just doesn't. We go a lot over the place. Like when you see like Carrie Elways having to make the government now go to paper now and try to get all the information that they have in the history banks and all that. They have to type it out on paper and typing machines now because they don't want the AI messing with it. That's see, when it's like Eagle Eye, it's really fun. And the movie's not bad. It's just that, it is a movie that like when you don't really think about like anything at all in it, which again, I think is pretty obvious with Mission Impossible movies now, that like, and always have been, that like, it's not like the TV show from the 60s that like, you're really thinking about it and you're thinking about every other thing. I'm glad that they kind of decided that these movies are now Tom Cruise stunt vehicles now. Like they're essentially just like Tom Cruise is doing this incredible stunt and that incredible stunt. At one point I thought I heard that like space was going to be a thing. I guess we'll have to see the next one. I doubt, and also another thing too is there's this idea out there this is going to be the last Mission Impossible movie. I doubt it is. I really do. I doubt that it will be the last Mission Impossible movie. There's probably going to be others. But even if there isn't others, Tom Cruise could always just make a Jack Reacher movie that's basically Mission Impossible. Or he could just make another Top Gun and just put more stunts in it to be like Mission Impossible. I mean, I've already heard that Days of Thunder and Top Gun are already getting another one. So, again, I think Top Gun 3 is probably a lot more box office than Days of Thunder sequel will. But, all right. I guess the studios are deciding that it was a Tom Cruise movie. We have to give it, because apparently he's like the last actual actor, I guess. Like, he was even asked to get political in this one interview, and he said, let's just focus on the movie here. I'm talking about the movie. Let's focus on the movie and not talk about politics right now. And see, and that's the thing you don't really see in Hollywood a lot now. But anyway, so then we have Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. She's basically Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy if she was a John Wick villain. So she basically works with the retcon villain to try to get the second piece of the key, because he has a piece of it and he's decided that he's going to work with the AI to end, as long as it lets him essentially take out Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, he will let it end the world just to be, like the ruler of it. And so he has this sidekick, girlfriend, don't really know who she is to him besides just the killer that works with him. So basically her whole thing is, he's a good, I work with him. but he killed one guy too many, and I overheard him not caring about me, so therefore now I'm on Ethan Hunt's side. Why? Well, because you know why? Because we can't have like we got to have the next one that's coming be about Ethan and the retcon villain essentially duking it out in some like big way. Like in this movie, they're on top of a train and they're duking it out. You know, the same thing has to happen in the next one. Maybe it's on top of a plane this time. I don't know. You know, like I've heard rumors about like a plane and like Tom Cruise is hanging out of it and he's somehow able to steer it and hang out of it at the same time. So that'll be fun to watch how we get to that. Again, the stunts are really good. There's this one stunt he does where he essentially uses this natural ramp of like a mountain to like use a motorcycle to go up the ramp, and then he lands perfectly on top of this train. They film it really great. I've heard that from when the director was doing the the behind the scenes thing, he was saying that Tom Cruise by like 5 a.m. or something, he's saying, let's do it again. Let's do it one more time. Let's get that shot one more time. And this is the guy that also last movie before this one that I'm talking about did this. He broke a rib at one point and he kept going. Like they said, like he broke a rib and he just kept. He didn't even like flinch or anything. He just kept going. And I think you can kind of tell in that scene. You can tell the exact scene, even if you weren't told. You can tell the exact scene they're referring to. And so then there's his other love interest who, spoiler alert, dies in this. She's a DEI superhuman female spy that you've seen in everything. She's better at shooting, better at hunting, better at better at finding the people than everybody else in the team. And there's basically this idea they have where now they have this idea now where essentially the retcon villain made Ethan Hunt make a choice where it's basically her or Haley Atwell, and you don't really understand why. It just feels like they needed to kill another girlfriend off, so he can only have this one now. I don't know. Like it feels like maybe the writers didn't know how two girlfriends were going to work, so she dies. Well, dies in quotes because these movies, they could always say that he missed her, or or like even though it looked like he killed her, he barely, what I mean, like all the excuses that MCU uses to get out of having to kill people. Essentially, they'll just, if they wanted to in a sequel, they could just do that, and they could do the same thing with Baldwin if they felt like it. They could just. I was honestly surprised when I watched this movie in theaters last year that I didn't see Baldwin in it. I was surprised that like his character, I guess because of, I'm glad because of, like real life things that were happening that he wasn't rewarded, but you know what I mean. But like if they felt like at any point they could bring Baldwin back, they could bring this guy back, they could bring Jon Voight back if they wanted to. Like that's the thing, is that these movies don't exactly, like they could, if Cary Elwes didn't die the way he did in this, where Mantis essentially just like I don't know. I don't want to say it because I want this movie's review to actually be aired on YouTube, so I won't say how he dies, but he dies. And if it wasn't the way he died, I would say that he could come back, but it doesn't really matter, I guess, because you have the other boss villain, and you have, I'm assuming Nick Offerman in the sequel is going to play basically Cary Elwes, just in a military uniform, I guess. And there's kind of, I don't know, like I've heard mixed signals when it comes to the next one. Like I've heard some people say it's all right, other people say it's really, I don't know, not like worse than this one. So I don't know. So like it could be, it could be like even better than this one. I'm hoping it is, because when I see it and I review it on this channel here, I hope I'm not saying, well, that was worse than the first one. And then we have Vanessa Kirby here. Another. Ethan Hunt has essentially become James Bond, where he has like 5 different like girlfriends in this. And I think there might be another one in the girlfriend that he had in the last movie with Wes Bentley that they, if they ever felt like it, could just shoehorn her back into the thing. So anyway, it's just so you know what I mean. It's so she has the other half of the key, and basically she's basically being tricked by Ethan's old boss to give her the key, to give him the key, because apparently they know each other from like your father knew me, and therefore so it's like she has the other half, and she has a decision: will she give it to Ethan Hunt or will she not? Now again, I don't know if it really matters, because this movie has basically taken the now you see me approach to pickpocketing, where it's basically it's like magic. You don't even need to touch the person. You don't even need to go near the person. You can just have, apparently it's more like teleportation almost, where like they can just have the thing appear even though he was nowhere near it. So yeah, so even if he gave it to the government guy, he could just pickpocket him and done. So Ethan Hunt has both halves now by the end of the movie, and essentially the movie ends with the idea of he's gonna go try to turn the thing off now. And I'm just here's the thing that kind of is funny to me. Like they act like they don't really need Ethan after a while, but who else is going to be the one that dives through ice down to the bottom of the ocean floor, go into the submarine underwater, and then and in the submarine, and then try to find the AI thing and shut it down or turn it on or whatever. Like who's going to be the one to do that besides Ethan in this series? Like I know they essentially foreshadowed that they were putting that retcon villain guy in his own personal little submarine thing, so like he'll essentially have it. But besides that, like, do you really see Carrie Elways going and all that and going down there? Do you really see like the old boss of like Ethan Hunt going down there? No. And again, none of the women in this seem like they were the ones to do this. And I love how the trailer makes it seem like they're actually gonna have him die. Like that's a possibility in these movies, that like he might actually die in this one. Oh, okay. You keep hinting at that in every sequel. Eventually, people are like, okay, yeah, sure. Like if he died, we won't just say he's fine in a sequel. So, yeah, I like the movie. I don't know. I don't really like the idea that we had to split it in two. I understand that like a 4 hour, 3 hour to 4 hour movie is a lot to ask of your viewers, but I'm sure there's something in the second half that you could have cut that would have, or in the first half you could have cut that would have been allowed you to blend the two, because the two-part thing, while a great marketing device, it doesn't help with like Mission Impossible movies, because it's just like it feels like you're watching 60s Batman. Like it should be tune in next time, same Mission Impossible time, same Mission Impossible place. It's just so yeah. So I like the movie. It's really fun. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I have a feeling they're gonna go one way with it. I don't want to. I feel like they're gonna go one way with the AI and with the boss and with certain clips I've seen in the trailer that I feel like they're gonna. Again, apparently this movie also has the Hollywood political fan fiction of what should have happened in 24. So yeah, fun to see that, I guess. And there's this one trailer scene that I love how they, as soon as they showed it, I knew he was gonna be talking to the president, saying need to have one more chance. And then another later trailer showed that yes, it was. So I think the movie's, you know, gonna kind of try to tap into the chaos and AI thing will make, but I think I don't know if I hope it doesn't just feel like The Leftovers. Like I hope it doesn't just feel like the leftovers of what they couldn't get in the last one and just shove it in the second part. I hope this one feels like its own like conclusion to the first one. I don't know. I hope they don't try to like retcon a lot of stuff the first half did and all that. But I like this movie. I think it's not that bad. And I know that like everybody's like, oh, it didn't make its money. This one that I'm talking about right now didn't make its money back, so therefore, like it's not doing that well. It didn't make its money back for one reason here, and I'm gonna say it. It's because of Barbie. Okay, because Barbie came out the week after this one came out. So, when there's like a cultural phenomenon movie like that, that one's gonna be watched more. So people were like, I'm not gonna watch Mission Impossible the week before. I'm gonna watch this one now. Again, if Mission Impossible didn't have to deal with Barbie the very next week, I guarantee you this would have made its money back. And I don't know why we couldn't like pair up Mission Impossible with Barbie like they did with Oppenheimer, and just have Oppenheimer come out a week before, and have its audience that it would have gotten as critical acclaim this, Oscar winning that. Christopher Nolan has done it again this, and it would have made a lot of money anyway, and because Christopher Nolan movies seem to make money regardless of what's happening around it. So most of them. And so I just feel like, why couldn't we have had Ethan Hunt and Barbie be on the same, like Mission Impossible and Barbie be on the same, like on the same weekend? Like instead of Barbenheimer, why not like Mission Barbie, or like Barbie Impossible? Like, oh, the Barbie Impossible challenge on TikTok. Can you see both of these, movies or something like they did with Oppenheimer and Barbie? I don't know why they couldn't do it with this. It honestly would have been the perfect movie to do, because honestly, how many guys do you think ended up just wanting to go see Barbie just because they're like, I don't know about Oppenheimer. Like Oppenheimer is interesting, but the 3-hour movie about like the nuclear bomb that you already know basically the story of already, it's kind of like I don't know. Did the historical movie, if it wasn't handcuffed to Barbie, would it have made as much money? I don't know. But I think Mission Impossible should have, because it would have been. You could have even had like Margot Robbie and Ethan Hunt be or Tom Cruise or whatever, go to interviews together like the Barbenheimer people did, and there could have been this whole like kind of like, for her we have Barbie, but for him we have Mission Impossible. I don't know, like there could have been such a great like kind of fun thing there in like summer. That could have been a really cultural thing. And I don't know, in my opinion, I didn't think Oppenheimer was really like the one to kind of gravitate to when you're like if you've already seen Barbie, you're kind of like, okay, I've seen the movie that's going to make the most money that year, okay? And then it's like, okay, well, you also have to see Oppenheimer. It's like I saw people very tired by the time they saw watch the TikTok clips you saw. They weren't that okay with watching it. So anyway, so then we also, like I hope in the next one we see more of like Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames, but we will. I wish they didn't kill off Cary Elwes. I feel like he could have been a good villain, but they had to. I understand, since you have like 3 or 4 villains in this movie, you had to kill one off just to kind of clear up some space for the next one. But it feels like, according to the trailers, his boss isn't even going to be that big of a thing either. Like, it feels like, I don't know, like, it feels like he is in some shots, and in other shots of the trailer, it seems like he's going to just be kind of a background player again, and it won't really matter. So it's like, it's like just, again, I don't know, like, I hope the next one continues it and goes upward, instead of just continues it and then feels like just the deleted scenes that they wanted to make more money off of. Like, I don't know. I just, like, I hope it doesn't just feel like that. So anyway, yeah, overall, I like this movie overall. Oh yeah, and then there's this guy here, Shea Wigman, I think I'm saying his name right. His basically whole story is he's a Fed chasing Ethan Hunt, and then he basically decides later that Ethan knows what he's doing. I'm gonna let him go, okay? Because he realizes his bosses don't really care about him; they just care about getting the AI. So he's like, okay, well, give him hell, you know, like it's basically like Indiana Jones, the most recent Indiana Jones, where he's like, give him hell, Indiana. It's like that's basically the same thing he is, like, give him hell, Ethan. So overall, it's a fun film. It really is. It's not the best of the series. I've seen better. I think the movie with Henry Cavill and the whole mustache scandal was better. But yeah, overall, I think this one's good. This one's good. I hope the next one kind of raises it back to like the level that like a finale for this deserves. Again, if you believe it's the finale. So thank you, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.